We're back. The Seahawks lose week 1 at home against the team we don't want to see them lose to, the San Francisco 49ers. And man, was it frustrating. It was one of those games where if your offense is even slightly below average, because it wasn't even there, it was slightly below average, we would have had a win today. And there's a lot of things about this that is bothersome. How the Seahawks have played at home in the recent past, how Sam Darnold played, how the offense looked in the play calling, and Tariq Woolen on defense. I'm going to break all those things down here because this really easily could have been one of those games where we look back and say, that was awesome. You know, it wasn't perfect, but we found a way to inch back or claw back into the game early, and we found a way to hold on to that small lead we had or hold on to that tie and find a way to finish it out. It could have been really easily one of those awesome games you look back and say, it was sloppy. It's not what we wanted to look like at all, but we won. Instead, it comes out to a loss early in the year. I am not going to assess my entire Seahawks season on this one loss, but there are two things that currently are definitely, they went up on the notch of concern level for me. If I was at a 2 before the season, maybe I'm at a 3 or 4 that quickly into the season, which is just the reality. The offensive play calling in Sam Darnold. I'm going to link those into one category, Sam Darnold and the offensive play calling. I might have 3 things, actually. But one of them, there's a solution. The offensive play calling and Sam Darnold as quarterback, as of right now, I hate to play the comparison game, and I am not going to do this all season. Well, I might. But I think it was Jackson Bevins that tweeted this. And it's kind of funny to look at. And it doesn't mean, it matters. It's just funny. Because, you look at the Seahawks this week, the Mariners outscored them today. 18 runs for the Mariners, 13 points for the Seahawks. But if we're going to compare the DK Metcalf stats today and what Pete Carroll with Geno Smith and the Raiders did to what Sam Darnold and our new wide receiver and Cooper Kupp did today, the comparison's not great. They were all a lot better. Geno Smith was a lot better than Sam Darnold. A guy like Cooper Kupp looked almost non-existent. I mean, it was just, there was nothing going on there. I can't even find the tweet. I'm just rambling right now, but I can't find the tweet. But the comparisons are going to happen if it continues to look like that throughout the year. Sam Darnold looked really bad. And everyone's going to say, oh, was he that bad? All this, that. It was not good. I mean, if he was not wearing a Seahawks jersey and you're a fan of the Seahawks, if you were not being a homer and you're playing against Sam Darnold, and he was on the Vikings last year, you'd be like, what a bad game by Sam Darnold. We locked him down. 16 for 23 is fine, but 150 yards, no touchdowns. He had that fumble to end the game. I'm not blaming it on him. Everyone's going to say it was Bosa. Yeah, Bosa bullied Abraham Lucas, which the ball ran into the back of Abraham Lucas. But that's just, last year we had those red zone problems of Geno. This year it started off with an offensive line problem is why we didn't score in the red zone. But it was just disappointing to look at. I mean, this is not what you hope for. There's guys like Brock Purdy who threw 2 picks today. Nothing was going their way. He still threw for 277 and 2 touchdowns, and he kind of, brought them back into the game and definitely looked like a lot better quarterback than Sam Darnold did today. So the offensive play calling, though, didn't love it, and Sam Darnold's performance, not the best. Number 2 is Zach Charbonnet might end up getting more carries than Kenneth Walker moving forward. Maybe it's the style of play. Maybe Kenneth Walker's just one of those running backs that, they're going to age poorly and not be as good. But didn't look good. And I think Zach Charbonnet, if this continues for a 2 or 3 week trend, you might look at him and say, maybe Zach Charbonnet is the RB1 and Kenneth Walker is not. That could be an overreaction, could be kind of a hot take right now, but it is the reality that it might, and I'm saying might be true. You have the Funk at home, the record not looking good at all the last couple times the Seahawks have played at home, the last 8 times. And before I get to that one, I'm just going to mention, I'm not going to put this game on him as much as I'm putting it on the offense, even though most people will want me to. Reek Woolen, those 2 plays on the last drive. I know he pretty much saved the touchdown with that arm stretching out Space Jam style tip. And the defense honestly looked great for a lot of portions of the game. Now I feel like the 49ers were able to drive downfield on them, but they were really good within the 30, within the 20, slowing down the 49ers, not allowing them to capitalize on their opportunities essentially. When it came down to we're in the red zone, we were making stops. Special team blocked a field goal. They missed one other field goal. When you have a situation like this where you're in the game at that point and you're looking at the score, you have to give credit to the defense. The offense is the one that didn't show up. But Tariq Woolen on those last 2 drives, he had that one with Ricky Pearsall. It looked like once for both of them, it looked like he was going for the big play. He's a ball hawk, like he went for the big play trying to make an interception. He turned his head too quickly, kind of to jump for the interception. Pearsall got that extra step on him, got that first down. Later in the drive, it led to a touchdown where also, I'll try to remember to put this picture on the screen, but Tariq Woolen could go for a hit here. He could go for batting the ball down. He could go for batting the arms down. It looks like he's going to catch the ball. And the 49ers guy caught the ball in front of him. It was a brutal mistake. And we've seen this with Tariq Woolen. It's not just a this game thing. This has kind of been an issue. His rookie year so far has been an anomaly. That wasn't great. So would we care as much, though, if our offense showed up a little bit? If we just scored on that last drive, we'd forget all about Tariq Woolen. Now, we might mention it and say that needs to be fixed, but we wouldn't worry about it as much. This is why I'm still putting more of the blame on the offense, because you have to capitalize. Your defense can't continually be in those situations. Your defense can't be always trying to save the offense, and that's what was happening. Now, Tariq Woolen got to clean some of that up. The thing is with Tariq Woolen, though, he is an aggressor. He plays like that. So there is some part of it where you say, how much of Tariq do you want to change because you're taking away a good aspect of him, even though that good aspect causes some negative plays? A decent amount of times. I'm not saying all the time, but a decent amount of times like it did today. So it's kind of a tricky situation. But like I said, offense puts you in that situation. And I got this tweet from G. Scott Sr., a friend of our podcast last year. He said, I'm sitting here in a funk right now. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Right now, the Seahawks are 1-7 in their last 8 home regular season games. I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of debate this week on Twitter about, it's going to be 50% 49ers. And I think it was a Hawk blogger, Brian Nemhauser, kept saying, like, that's not true. This is BS, and tweeted a picture at the game, like, don't listen to what the TV broadcast is showing you. I felt like, by the way, I like Hawk bloggers' content. I watch them all the time, but I felt like that was a little homerish to say because there was a lot of red, at least in the lower section there, and in the Hawks Nest a little bit was showing a little red. There was a lot of 49ers fans there. That's cool. Let's defend our fans and say, oh, no, don't listen to anyone. It's more Seahawks fans. But it's not. Like, this has been a problem. So, like, let's not sit here and just be homers and say, that's BS. Like, there's not many 49ers fans here. It was pretty red down there. And wherever they were showing the flyovers on TV, it looked really red. Now, I'm not saying it was 50%, but it was a lot. And I think that has to attribute to this 1-7 in the last 8 home regular season games. I mean, 1-7 is awful for a team that used to go 7-1, 6-2, 7-1 in that era, the LOB era. We used to never lose at home. When we lost at home, it was a shock. Now it's if we win at home, it's a shock. And I saw a lot of that red out there. I do think it was a little louder than usual, like compared to last year. They had that false start in a big moment, big plays happen. You could hear the crowd roaring, but let's not pretend like the home field advantage we once had is the same one. And I've been tricked into thinking it is multiple times. Before the game, I had this stat on one of my videos that the Seahawks are 9-1 since Lumen Field opened in home week 1 openers. And I thought that, that's a big deal. That's the best record in the NFL in that span in home openers. Now they're 9-2. They are not as good at home. It's just clear. I mean, I think it's a little more opposing teams. Seattle has grown so much in the last 10 to 15 years where transplants are going to spend money in those big expensive seats. Those guys that work at tech companies, the businesses that buy those seats, you're going to get a lot of opposing teams filling it up, opposing team fans. And that's what's happening. And something about that home field advantage is just not the same right now. And 1-7 in the last 8 regular home season games is pretty brutal. But overall, as I was saying, Seahawks defense looked at least, I'm not saying it was great because, like I said, they drove down the field a lot, but I felt like they were also able to stop them once they drove downfield. Special teams was good. Tariq Woolen selling on those 2 plays really killed the Seahawks, but overall, number 3, Seahawks offense had a moment here or there, but I said this in my short video on my YouTube short, TikTok shorts. Overall, F grade. I mean, offense was bad. And, none of this would have mattered if we scored on that last drive. But Sam Darnold did fumble. The offensive line, Abraham Lucas was getting pushed over on that play. And there's no excuse to not score once you're in that 15, 20-yard line range. Just an overall really bad day. 4th and 1 kicking. Some people don't like that mentality. That could play a role now. I saw some analytics that it wouldn't make a difference. Analytics say kick the field goal. I'm like a 50-50 analytics guy. I like analytics, but there's certain feels to a game where sometimes you feel like, hey, we probably need to go for it here because we're going to be at disadvantage if we don't. And, you see, I like watching teams like the Buffalo Bills. They just beat the Ravens when down 15 in the 4th quarter. They got a lot of effort mentality. Like, we're just going for it. We're going for it here. We're going for 2 now. We're doing this here. And, you could have looked back. If they lost, people would have said those 2-point conversions they went for early, probably shouldn't have gone for that one or shouldn't have done this. Guess what? It worked out. Being aggressive sometimes works. I'm not saying it always does. But we already went through a little bit of Sam Darnold. As I said, Zach Charbonnet, 12 carries, 47 yards. Kenneth Walker, 10 carries for 20 yards, 2 yards per carry. That's pretty concerning. One, the 2 yards per carry, while Charbonnet is at 3.9, almost double. And the 12 carries to 10 carries. I mean, the Seahawks are obviously seeing what we're seeing, and they're saying, might be Zach Charbonnet as RB1. That's just the reality. And then we look at the receiving core. 16 total completions for Sam Darnold. One of them to A.J. Barner for 0 yards. 3 of them for 4 yards to Kenneth Walker. Those are just dump-offs. If you eliminate those, which they should. I mean, Barner's at 0 yards on a catch, and Kenneth Walker's 3 catches for 4 yards. So, some dump-offs at the line, screen pass, whatever. If you eliminate those, you're looking at a total of 12 other completions. In those 12 completions, you had 1 to Elijah Arroyo for 7 yards, 2 to Cooper Kupp for 15 yards, and 9 to Jackson Smith-Njigba for 124 yards. I know they're going to rely on JSN this year. It's been something that's been, I took his over on the year, over 975.5 yards on the season, because I'm expecting this. 124 yards for him. The next highest is 15 yards on 2 catches, and then 1 catch for 7 yards, 3 catches for 4 yards, and 1 catch for 0 yards. They're going to have to find a way to get somebody like Torrey Horton in this offense. They're going to have to find a way to get Cooper Kupp going, because you cannot rely on, don't get me wrong, get 13 targets for 9 catches and 124 yards to JSN, but you can't rely on that and then have, your next highest receiver have 15 yards, and then your next highest reception is being 3 yards for 3 catches for 4 yards. Those are going to be problems. So, and the weird using Jalen Milroe for a QB sneak play, he got the 1 yard, but like just throwing him out there as a rookie just randomly for a play was odd to me. I don't know. There was just some odd things. You obviously, some things on the defense you like to see. I mean, I liked seeing them fly around. I know some people responded on Twitter like, oh yeah, they're flying around doing nothing. Okay, you can see it that way, but Julian Love looked good. He had that sack, a QB hit, Witherspoon had 8 tackles, Kobe Bryant 8 tackles, Ernest Jones with the 8 tackles, and I think he ended with the pick too. Josh Jobe with his interception. You saw DeMarcus Lawrence make a big play there. Leonard Williams is good. Tyrese Knight was around. Nothing spectacular. Julian Love is probably, looking like one of the best players on this defense again. But they were flying around. And I know that sounds like that's just like a cool term. Oh, they're flying around. They were, though. I mean, I feel like they were all over the place in a good way. Now, that doesn't always equal good results, and it didn't always equal good results today, but it did in the red zone when San Francisco got down there. If it wasn't for those 2 mistakes by Tariq Woolen, I mean, we got outscored 10-3 in the fourth quarter, and that big play to Ricky Pearsall and that touchdown where he should have batted it down or made a play on the ball. I don't know how. Once again, I'll try to put up pictures of this because there's no reason when you see it from the higher up view, from like the all 22 view, no reason that should be caught. So overall, frustrating day. Not happy. Is there some good things to take out of this? Defensively, special teams, yep. Offensively, not anything good to take out of this other than JSN got the ball a lot and looks even better this year potentially, but Sam Darnold didn't look great. Running back situations really interesting, odd, and I'm interested to see what Cooper Kupp does the next couple of weeks because that's going to be your number 2 receiver. I don't know if it's going to be a huge difference from DK Metcalf as it looked like it was today, but it could just be a bad game. Could have been a bad offensive game plan. So we're just going to have to wait and see and find out. Overall, I'm frustrated, but not the end of the world. We are 0-1, only NFC West team with a loss so far. But we have some weeks to make up all this. I mean, it's week 1 out of 17 games. So let's not lose our optimism. But like I said to start this video, my concern notch went up a little bit on the offensive play calling. Sam Darnold, Tariq Woolen out there. There's a couple question marks. The wide receivers outside of Jackson Smith and Jigba. A couple marks went up on the notch, on the concern meter, whatever you want to call it. But I think everything will be all right, and we'll be back. We'll see you a few times this week before the next game. Well, let's go get a win next week. I mean, it's at Steelers, DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns today. It's going to be interesting. And the defense made some big plays at the end there. But they did give up 30-something points to the Jets and Justin Fields. So maybe Sam Darnold will get his swagger back against the Steelers defense. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. And keep your hopes up, even though there was a lot of red flags today. But I think it'll be all right. 1 or 2 plays, we'd be having a different conversation right now. So let's just keep our high hopes on that part of the fact. I love y'all, and we'll see you later this week. Peace.